Hi, welcome to Upgrade Your Self-Confidence. My name is Iona, and today we're talking all about how to believe in yourself even after failure and criticism. How are you getting on this week? I hope you're doing good. I'm going to try and keep my notes away from the microphone because last week we had a lot of rustling going on. I didn't notice. I am using my laptop, microphone, and camera. Don't have my usual webcam and microphone with me right now. So I'm going to have to be extra super careful where I put my notes. So welcome to Upgrade Your Self-Confidence. I am a coach who specializes in helping people with self-confidence, complex trauma, chronic stress, neurodivergence. Hi, Linda. How are you doing? Good to see you. I really wanted to talk to you about how to believe in yourself even after criticism and failure today because it's such an important subject in my own life. I've always struggled to believe in myself. Really, really difficult because I don't know about you, but many of us have been taught, hi, Ida. Many of us have been taught that self-belief is like this conceited, pompous, arrogant narcissism, when actually I feel like it's a confident knowingness. And many of us who have struggled or do struggle with self-belief, with believing in ourselves, believing in our skills, believing that it's whatever we want to do is possible, right? Believing that our goals are possible for us. We have to have a certain amount of self-belief in order to get those things done, right? We have to have a certain amount of self-belief in order to believe that we can have the things that we want to have. And for many of us, myself included, it has been a constant struggle, a constant battle with my inner critic and with the self that I'm building, right? My confident self, my confident, aligned, authentic, true self that's battling with my inner critic. My inner critic saying, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, bad things will happen if you do it, bad things are going to happen anyway, the world is a really hard place, the world is a really tough place to live in, to exist in. But then there's also that other part of me that says, no, F that, like I want to be able to do these things, I really want to do these things. And I grew up feeling not good enough. I struggled with my self-belief. I struggled with thinking that I was capable, right? I felt like I was an imposter a lot of the time. And I observed these feelings in my caregivers, right? I observed their behavior and I learned their behavior. I learned the behavior of others when it came to self-criticism, self-judgment, self-rejection, self-abandonment, the inner critic. I observed other people's lack of belief in themselves, and I created my own belief system from that because I didn't know what else, I didn't have any other options, right? I didn't know there was something else that you could do. And this created a self-fulfilling prophecy in my life, because what you believe to be true about yourself and what you believe to be true about the world becomes your reality. Your subconscious mind is scanning your environment all the time to find evidence that what it believes to be true is true, right? It's constantly scanning in the environment for evidence to say that, yes, this is true, this is true, this is the truth, this is my truth, right? So whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. That's where that saying comes from. I have a treat for you today. I have a cheat sheet that's going to go along with this live, and I'm going to pop the link to it in the chat right now. It will take you to a Google form, which will ask for your email address, which will be for signing up to my mailing list. Don't worry if you're already signed up to my mailing list, just fill it in because I promise you won't get 2 emails from me. So that is the cheat sheet that goes along with this live today, which is how to believe in yourself even after failure and criticism. So I'll pop the live in. Sorry, I'll pop the link in a couple of times throughout the live. The belief system that I had built around myself, which was I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm fundamentally flawed, I'm bad, the world is a bad place, I'm not, I don't deserve what I want, all of these things, blah, blah, blah. They create the system that I act, interact, and react from, right? All of our beliefs, all of our perspectives, our subconscious beliefs, our negative emotions, all of those things that we have in our body, our critical thoughts, they all create the system that we act, react, and interact with the world from. So if you have a belief about yourself that you are not good enough, or if you struggle to believe in yourself because of a certain reason, then that is how you're going to react, interact, and act with your world. You're going to interact with your world through that belief, and that's going to give you the results that you get. So how do we build belief when it feels impossible? How do we build belief when it feels impossible? That's what we're going to find out. And I would love for you to comment where you are at with self-belief right now. Do you believe in yourself? Do you struggle with self-belief? Please put a comment or an emoji in the chat to let me know how you currently feel about your self-belief, where it's at right now. Why is it so hard to believe in ourselves? Well, many of us have protective wiring in our brain that fear and criticism, it creates a defense mechanism, right? Our childhoods, our adolescence, our life experiences, the caregivers around us, the things we learned from them, the behaviors that we learned from them, the inner critic thoughts and feelings that we learned from observing other people around us have created these neural pathways, right? This wiring and firing that goes on in our brain and our bodies, because we don't just have neural pathways in our brain, we also have it in our stomach and our heart, right? The other just as important organs in our bodies. And when these wires fire, when these neural pathways connect, it creates a defense mechanism in the body, especially if that belief or that feeling or whatever it is, that whatever that neuron, whatever that was that just fired, especially if it creates a feeling of fear in the body, right? Or we go into our nervous system, we have a nervous system reaction, like fight, flee, fight, flop, fawn, fright, right? When we've experienced failure, when we've experienced rejection, when we've experienced abandonment, especially if we have a trigger, especially if we have a wound or a trauma around that, our brain and our body builds a defense mechanism, right? It builds a defensive wall to protect us, right? Don't try, don't hope, don't risk, don't do that again. So if we are to do something that, like for example, we're playing when we're little, or we're singing, or we were doing something creative, and it was criticized or it was shut down, that sends a signal to our nervous system that tells us that's not safe. So we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't take the risk because we may be rejected or criticized or whatever it was again. And that it's not safe to be rejected. It's not safe to be criticized. It's not safe to fail, because if we do, then X, Y, and Z happens, right? We lose people, we become alone, worst case scenario, we die, they die, whatever it is. So our brain and body creates these walls, these defense mechanisms that tell us, don't try, don't hope, don't risk it, just don't. So we lose our self-belief. And I feel like we were born with self-belief, right? You watch and observe a toddler or a little baby, or a little child running around and having fun and playing, right? They're not thinking, they're not in their inner critic, they're not stuck and thinking, oh no, I'm afraid of rejection. Most of the time, they are fearless and bold, and they don't really care what happens. They just do what they're doing. They do, right? They're just doing the thing. So it's throughout time and throughout learned experiences and conditioning from other people, projection from other people, and observing other people's behavior that we pick up and we lose our self-belief. It wears away over time. And we have to make a conscious effort to pick that self-belief back up, right? We have to put the walls down slowly and build our self-belief back up. Especially if you've experienced failure, because for many of us, we define failure and success in our own way. And failure to one person, which is like a really big deal, might not be as a big a deal to another person, right? So a millionaire or a billionaire losing a couple $100,000 to them, right, might be fine. It's all good. I've got plenty more. But to somebody who doesn't have much, that is a huge failure. So failure is completely subjective, and we can grow these fears of failure. You can also grow fears of success too, but that's a different topic for a different time. And it's completely normal for us to have this fear of failure, right? Whatever our fear of failure is, right, because it's subjective, whatever that is completely normal. Doesn't mean that we're limited, doesn't mean we can't do things. It means that our nervous system is working. Nervous system is working, right? Congratulations for the fear and the worry and the doubt. Your brain is working. I'm here to tell you good news. Your brain and body are functioning fully. We have to rewire them. We have to retrain them if we want to feel more bold, if we want to feel more fearless, if we want to have more belief in ourselves and our abilities and what it is that we want to do. We have to retrain through small, repeated actions. Small, repeated actions. We can begin by normalizing this frustration and self-doubt as a survival response. Okay, this fear, this lack of self-belief, this lack of self-doubt, this frustration, or this self-doubt, this lack of self-belief and frustration is completely normal. It is a survival response. And once we can start to play with that and try and remember that every time we have a wobble, a self-belief wobble, it's really helpful. We can normalize our wobbles, normalize our lack of self-belief. We can normalize our self-doubt. If we can make it no big deal, then that's going to really help us in moving forward, because there's so many of us that ruminate and spend time mulling over our mistakes and our failure and the things that we can't do, or the worries about the things that we think we can't do. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's normal. It's a survival response. We can also look for positive proof and evidence that the thing that we want to do is possible. So have we think, I want you to pop in the chat if you can, one thing that you struggle with in self-belief, right? Is it in general? Is it in believing in yourself in general? Or can we be more specific? Is there something specific that you struggle to believe with? Is it about work? Is it about relationships? Is it about money? Do you not believe that you can get the amount of money that you want? Do you struggle to believe that you can do the thing that you want to do, like the painting business, the art business, or the book that you want to write, or the relationship that you want to have, or this new version of yourself that you want to have, or whatever goal it is that you want? What is it that you struggle with the self-belief? Because We can look for positive proof and evidence in other parts of our lives and bring that into this topic. We can build trust. That's how we build trust, by bringing the evidence from elsewhere, from outside of that, into this thing that we struggle with. So I remember when I say that, I talk about this in my book, that we have the most confidence in the areas of life that we have the least resistance in and towards. We have the least confidence in the things that we have the most resistance in. Okay, so I like to use the driving example. Some people have no resistance towards driving and therefore are quite confident drivers. Many people have lots of resistance towards driving and really struggle with driving, right? They struggle with their self-belief around driving. They don't believe they're safe when they drive. They struggle to believe that it's possible they can get from A to B without something happening. So wherever we are in life, wherever we have the least resistance is where we feel the most confidence. So wherever we feel the most confidence in life, we can bring that into this area, right? This subject. So whatever it is that you want to have more belief in, let's go general, right? Say, for example, we want to feel generally more confident. We want to have more self-belief, especially after we've had failure or a criticism. What areas in life can we look for evidence that we do have some self-belief, right? It can be like a tiny little hint of self-belief. Let's think of an example. I struggle with putting myself out there, right? Doing these YouTube lives, right? Scary is live, but I've done live stuff before for years, so I'm getting better at it. But when it comes to talking about doing my creative stuff, I have no resistance there, right? So I have a little bit of resistance talking about the business stuff, but I have no resistance talking about my creative stuff and my hobbies. So I can bring in some of the self-belief that I have in my hobbies into the part where I feel lack of self-belief. I can think about how I feel and how confident and how free and how great I feel when I'm doing my hobbies, when I'm doing the thing, when I'm talking about my hobbies, when I'm showing other people my hobbies. What would that feel like if I brought that in? What would it feel like if I felt that way when I'm doing the thing that I currently lack self-belief in, right? The freedom, the fun, the creativity, the joy. Oh, I feel so much lighter already. Okay, so some comments here. Aida says, I can follow plans out to the end without abandoning them to prioritize something else which someone important to me needs or expects. So that's where you're struggling with self-belief. Okay, so the belief in being able to follow through without abandoning the plan. Okay, great. Linda says, the fear of burnout, not being able to handle it again if I try rebuild my own enterprise again. Great. Okay, cool. Yay, congrats on the driving license. So good. Oh, bless you. Oh, awesome. So, okay, where in life then do you have no resistance to believing in yourself, or an ability that you have where there's no resistance, where you feel quite confident about it? How would it feel if you were to bring that? Imagine you're scooping up that confidence, that lack of resistance in whatever that thing is that you do, right? It could be an action, it could be a thing that you do, or a place that you are, like in life, or a task, right? That you can bring into the part that feels like the fear, feels the scariness. How would it feel to feel that way when you do the thing, right? Do the thing that you want to do. So like ease, right? For example, what would it be like if it was easy to just follow plans to the end without abandoning them, right? If you just stick to your plan and just do it and see it through. If it was easy to do that, what would that be like? And what if there was, in terms of like the burnout, what if you were able to recognize when you needed rest? What if it was easy for you to recognize when you needed rest? And if you decided that you could just handle it, you would be able to handle what you needed to handle And then if anything else was to get overwhelming, then you could outsource, right? You could ask for help. You could help other people. You could ask other people for help. And you would know, right? You would have that knowing that when it's time for you to say, that's enough, take a little step back. So looking for other places and other parts of our lives where we don't feel that same resistance and bringing it in. And the same with like the wins, right? So if we were to like look at how far we've come, look at all the amazing things that we've achieved so far, that is retraining our subconscious, especially if we have feelings that we're not good enough, right? Or that we're not worthy, or that we're prone to failure, that we're only ever going to fail. Looking for evidence and looking for things to celebrate consistently is really helpful for this. So I want you to now in the chat tell me one small win that you had this weekend or last week, because it's Monday. And so yeah, share with me something that worked out this weekend, today even, or last week. Something that worked out for you today, the weekend, or last week. So in a way, we need to be more aware of our limitations to be able to achieve more within them. Yeah, I would say our limitations tend to shift, right? Because many of our limitations are self-imposed. They're self-imposed limitations, right? So once we start to work on our belief system and work on what we believe to be true about ourselves, and shifting our focus, rebuilding those neural pathways, then our limitations, our boundaries, our limitations shift, right? So yes, we have limitations, but we also can grow those limitations, because sometimes our limitations are created by our belief system, right? Our feelings of not good enough, or feelings unworthy, or almost like I can't do that thing because, well, I just can't do it. But actually, if we were to play with the idea that it is possible, then the limitations shift and grow. And then we start to actually, have self-belief again. Linda started painting again. Well done, Linda. That's awesome. Congratulations. Yay. So slowly taking baby steps, right? Taking baby steps, you've started painting again. How good does that feel, right? It feels so good. I would imagine it would feel good. And that leads me on to my next point, right? How do we believe in ourselves even after failure and criticism? Well, the belief comes after action, not before the action, right? It's a total myth that we need confidence before we start. What we need is a willingness, right? We need a willingness to do the thing, to want to do the thing. But confidence is actually built by doing the thing, right? We can explore. We can explore why we feel afraid about doing the thing. We can explore what would be the worst thing to happen if my fears were to come true, if I was to do the thing. What would be the best thing to happen if my fears didn't come true? What would be the best thing to happen if I did the thing? So that we can then do the thing, right? The belief has to come before we take action, which is hard to do if we've had a criticism and failure, because that defense mechanism in our bodies doesn't want us to start. It doesn't want us to do the thing. It wants us to go back and be safe. And that's why it's really important that we work through our fears and the things that might be creating the defense mechanism. Criticism is usually coming from a place that has nothing to do with you. Criticism is usually someone projecting their own beliefs onto you, what they believe to be true about themselves and what they can and can't do onto you. It's projection. And failure failure is a really good opportunity, learning opportunity. It's a really good learning opportunity to figure some things out, to decide some things, right? To figure out what to do, what not to do. I'm the kind of person that knows what she doesn't want to do before she knows what she wants to do, right? And that usually comes because I've done something and I've fluffed it up. And that means, okay, now I know what I don't want to do. Now I know what I'm not going to do next time. I'm going to do the thing and I'm going to do it differently. What if our failures were just a learning opportunity? What if criticism had nothing to do with us and came from other people's projections according to their own belief system, what they believe to be true about themselves? Our confidence grows by starting, by showing up, and by seeing, right? By seeing that, oh, it's working, it's working, it's working. Like driving, right? Using the driving analogy again, like you only get confident at driving by driving. You only get confident at painting, right, Linda? You only get confident at painting by doing. So we have to start and then take baby steps and then maybe make some mistakes and maybe even experience some criticism and then learn some things about our belief system. Like if we were to start a thing and we get criticism about the thing that we're doing, we can either take that as helpful feedback, and we can also, or either or and we can also view it as that other person's projection, right? The other person just actually showing their own defense mechanism, right? Showing their own fears. And it has nothing to do with us. And when we see that, it can actually give us a little confidence boost to remember, oh yeah, this actually didn't have anything to do with me. It is safe to put myself out there. It is safe for me to take action. It is safe for me to fail, because actually I thought everything was going to go to hell and I thought I was going to die and I thought everyone was going to die, blah, 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 blah. But actually I survived. Everyone survived. The world didn't end. I can move forward. Yeah, okay, I might have lost some things, might have lost some money, I might have blah, blah, blah. But actually I'm still here. I'm still conscious. I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. And I can do the thing. I can do the thing again. I can take another step. I know how to do it better this time. Aida says, I'm starting to make progress with learning a foreign language. Yay! Congrats, that's awesome. Yes, the painting. You wish so much to show them again. Okay, great. So my question to you then is, if you wanted to start showing them again, what's the biggest fear that's holding you back when it comes to starting them again? Is it the fear of burnout? Is it the same thing that you said at the start, the fear of burnout, not being able to handle it? Because think about, and this goes for any topic, if you experienced failure in something and some time has passed, even if a really small amount of time has passed, you're a completely different person than you were then. So you can act, react, and interact with the world in a different way. You have more awareness about yourself than you ever have before. And you can make choices and act, react, and interact with the world in a different way so that you can avoid that thing that happened last time. So you can avoid that failure again. And you know what? It might happen again. But maybe if it happens again, it won't be the failure that it was before. And maybe that's a really good opportunity for you to then go back and inwards and explore, okay, what changes I need to make this time in order to not do that again. So it's like, the 10 steps forward, 2 steps back, 10 steps forward, 2 steps back, or however many steps forward and however many steps back, right? It's baby steps towards building our confidence to do the thing that we want to do. Is the fear of doing the thing which is more important to you? What are the priorities? Getting the work out into the world and the joy of sharing your work with the world, or the fear of what happens if it goes wrong again? Because for many of us, it's the fear. And that's why so many people struggle with putting themselves out there, struggle with doing the thing, because the fear is so overwhelming. But if we can focus on how good it feels when we're doing the thing we want to do, when we're sharing what we want to do, that can grow and become stronger than the fear itself. So my passion, I love helping people to remember or to know that they're good enough just as they are. And the only way I can get myself out there, right, is to do it, is to talk about it, is to do it, is to put myself out there, which is scary because it opens me up to failure and criticism, right? And I've had plenty of it. But the more I do it, and even the more criticism and rejection or whatever failure I get, I'm learning to just be like become immune to it. I'm learning to be okay with it because I understand intellectually as well as emotionally that it has nothing to do with me. And if it does, that's okay. Like I can live with it. I can learn from it. I can take some feedback, right? I can take some constructive criticism. I'm not going to let that affect what I do, because what I do is important. I think it's important to me, and the wanting to do the thing is now getting bigger than the fear of the failure or the criticism that I might get if I do the thing. I'm probably always going to get, we're always going to experience some level of failure or criticism in our journeys. It's kind of, it's inevitable. But what are we going to do about it? Right? Are we going to get to our deathbeds and have regrets about not doing the thing that we should have done or the thing that we wanted to do? Or are we gonna do the thing regardless? And when we get to our deathbed, we look back at life and we feel really proud of ourselves for doing the thing. One thing that I have done over the last 5 years of me doing this is to practice something that I call the minimum viable action. Minimum viable action, which is doing one tiny step consistently. Success and belief in ourselves and self-confidence comes with consistency, right? With practice. Confidence is just practice, doing something over and over again. Let's get good at it. And shifting those beliefs about ourselves and what's possible for ourselves. I practice minimum viable action, which is taking the smallest possible step, like 1% regularly, that moves me forward towards my goal, right? Enough action that it creates progress, right? It makes progress, but it's not overwhelming. It's not paralyzing. I don't burn out, right? I just go at my own pace. Because for a long time, and this might be relevant to you, Linda, as well. Like for a long time, I was trying to go at other people's paces. I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't think I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't good enough. And I had to compete with other people, looking around at other people going, well, they're doing this thing. I can't do this thing. I'm not doing this thing. So I need to get to where they are. I'm going to burn myself out trying to get to that. And that's not healthy. That's not me working at my own pace. So I've learned to really slow down and break things up, okay? Like break things into bite-sized pieces, into doable pieces, going at my own pace. Because I found a way over years of practice, I found a system and a way of doing things that works for me. And it totally overcomes like the analysis, what's it called? Analysis paralysis. Is that right? Yeah. Analysis paralysis, or waiting till you feel ready, right? Like getting stuck in freeze, where you the fear of doing the thing because doing the thing that we need to do is too big, it's too scary, so we're just going to not do it. But if we break it down into smaller bits to do it, then it seems like a lot easier to do. It seems like a lot more possible to do. And doing this, I find, builds momentum. It builds momentum and it builds confidence through consistency, and it builds confidence through doing it in a way that's manageable. And then we can also celebrate when we've done the thing. Even if it's just a little bit of the thing, we can celebrate that, and we can add that to our pile of evidence which says that it's possible, and retrain that neural pathway into self-belief. Aida says, it took me decades to start learning this language because I got bullied many times and tried to speak it. So I had a complete block learning it. Now I'm coming to terms with the situations. Great. That's awesome. So yeah, so the fear is that of the criticism, right? Especially if you've had some negative experiences around it, like bullying, then you're absolutely going to have that fear of being criticized, have a failure around it. And we can intellectually understand that that bullying, that criticism, whatever it was, probably had nothing to do with you and had everything to do with what that other person believed to be true about themselves. Probably had a lot to do with their own fear of looking bad, looking silly, or perhaps they were just trying to put you down, because there are many people in the world who get a rise off of watching other people struggle, because it gives them a sense of power, gives them a sense of control. And we're not available for that, are we? We're not available for that at all. Linda says that comparison with others is dangerous. Yeah, it totally is. And yeah, I really want to, I'm probably going to be doing a few lives on comparison and how we can shift that into staying in our own lane, right? Staying in our own energy, getting to know ourselves. And because fundamentally, when we have comparison, when we compare ourselves to others, it means that we believe that at some level we're not good enough, or that it's not possible for us, or we're not worthy, we're not deserving, we're not lovable, blah blah blah, all those things. So if we can say, okay, they're doing that thing over there, great, good for them, I'm happy for them, and now I can turn it around and focus in on myself and decide, okay, right, I am good enough. If I want to do that thing that they're doing, I can, and I get to do it in my own way because it's fun and that's the way that I want to do it. And actually, if I do it in my way, then it's probably going to be better, maybe easier, who knows. But if I do it the way that they're doing it, then I could get stuck. It could be tricky because it's not my way, it's their way. So when we come back into our own lane, focus on our own energy and kind of cut off, we can observe what other people are doing and we can, celebrate them and what they're doing. We can also decide that I'm allowed to do it my way. It's safe for me to do it my way. But yeah, absolutely. That's a topic that I'm going to be covering in lives in the future for sure. So talking about the minimum viable action, one tiny step consistently, it's much less intimidating and easier to start if we can break things down, if we can break our tasks into smaller chunks, into smaller pieces, right? So the thing that you have to do, for example, if you want to start your business sharing your art, again, what is a small step that you can take right now that kind of gets you on your journey, enough to give you a sense of it's happening, I'm doing it, but not too much that is overwhelming that you're going to burn out, right? And the same with the language process, learning foreign language. You're doing it, you're learning it. What can you celebrate? Like what can you notice that you've done, or what can you do that's moving you forward in that direction towards learning it, and builds up your confidence so that you're less likely to quit, right? If someone was to criticize you, or if someone was to bully you again, right? Or like with the painting, if you were to have a bit of if you work too much one day and you're like, oh, I've had too much, I've done too much today, I feel like I might burn out, taking a step back, and having a little breather, even that itself, that's a win, I would say. So if for example, right, if your goal is to write a book, a minimum viable action might be, writing one paragraph of the book, or writing the chapters. If you want to get fit, minimum viable action might be putting on your workout shoes and going for a wee walk or doing some stretching, right? It's just, and then doing it the next day, adding something else, doing it the next day, adding a little bit more, doing the next day. The point is to actually get you started doing the thing you want to do, because belief comes after action, not before. It's not about believing 100% in yourself and then going out and doing the thing, because that might not ever happen. We might not, unless we were to, I don't know, like have an experience where we get a different brain. I don't know, have some sort of like, what was that movie where they swap brains? Not Friday the 13th. Was it? Freaky Friday. That was it, Freaky Friday, with Jamie Lee Curtis. Right? You might get a new brain, right? You might wake up one day with like loads of self-belief, which will be awesome. Great. Love that for you. But most likely you will be where you are and take action, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And that builds confidence. We can also help it by deciding what our truth is, by thinking about what we believe to be true about ourselves, whether we feel like we're not good enough, or we feel like we have to compete with other people, or whatever it is, whatever we've got going on, whatever it was, whatever the fear is, wherever the fear has come from, that has created that lack of self-belief, that's created that self-doubt. What small action can you commit to this week, right? Because it's Monday. So what small action can you commit to this week that's going to help you build your belief, build your confidence around that thing that you want to do? What can you do? What small action can you commit to this week that's going to be your minimum viable action, that's going to help you build the confidence to believe in yourself in order to do the thing that you want to do? Let me know in the comments. What small action can you commit to this week? And once you have decided, or once you've thought about what thing you can do, what small action you can do, it's going to be not a very big thing. Let's keep it small. Let's keep it doable, completely doable. Can you decide that you're willing to do it, right? You're willing. You might not be ready, you may not feel ready, but you're willing to give it a try. You're willing to give it a go. I want you to, if you can right now, say out loud, I may not be ready, but I am willing. Right now, say that out loud. I may not be ready, but I am willing. I'm going to write it in the chat. May not be ready, but I am willing to do it, willing to try. I may not be ready, but I am willing to try, willing to give it a go. Willingness opens doors to growth, even in fear, because we're choosing, we're making a decision, we're opening ourselves up to try it, right? We're being growth oriented, we're not being stuck, we're not being fixed. We're willing to try, we're willing to move in a direction. Yep, absolutely. Not all in. Baby steps, not all in. It might be really interesting to explore there, like what happens if you take baby steps. Why have you went all in the past? It might be something to explore there, Linda. So Linda says, start taking baby steps, not all in, which is my normal. So your normal, which you've been doing for a while, I presume, is going all in, which has created that burnout experience for you. What must you believe to be true about yourself that makes you go all in? What is it that has created, what feelings, what perspective, what beliefs is it that are making you want to go all in? Is there a fear there that if you don't go all in right now, then your creativity might run out, or something bad's going to happen, or you might miss out, or you might lose ideas, or whatever it could be? And is there a fear that if you take baby steps, if you go at your own pace, if you create your own pace, something bad's going to happen, right? What's going to happen? And what do you believe to be true about taking baby steps? And how can we reframe these? Same for yourself, Aida, who says, I also need to do less to do more. Yes, 100%, absolutely. One of my favorite coaches and mentors says, doing too much is doing too much, right? When you're doing too much, you're doing too much, right? You stop, scale it back, bring it back. Stop doing what you're doing and just say enough is enough. I'm gonna start doing less. I'm not gonna do more, I'm gonna do less. And actually doing less actually gives you space to think and breathe and be. And when you're in this energy, when you're in the energy of okay, it's cool, it's not frantic, it's not stressful, it's not anxious, it's not like I need to do everything right now. You can actually achieve more in that energy. You can actually go further with that energy because you're not in this like tight energy. You're more fluid, you're more flowing. So it would be worth exploring then for yourself. What do I believe is true about myself when I do more? What do I believe is true about myself when I do less? And how can we reframe those, right? I need to do more. I feel like I need to do more because if I don't do more, if I'm not always doing, then that could give me time to think about things, right? That could give me time to get my inner critic comes out and starts berating me. It distracts me. It's a distraction. Yeah, whatever it could be. And then if you're doing less, what do you believe to be true about yourself if you do less? If you do less, does that mean you're going to miss out? Does that mean you're going to make mistakes? Does that mean you're not going to be able to do things? What's the belief system there? What's the perspectives there? What neural pathways are we using, right, that we have created or that have been projected onto us by other people, right? Perhaps we observed someone in our family, our caregiver, be frantic and need to do things all the time, constantly. And we've learned that that's how we have to function because that's how people function in the world. But it's not necessarily the truth, right? It's not necessarily the only way that you can function. Linda says, perfectionist, want to see the perfect result as soon as possible. Pressure. Good idea. That's so great, Linda. Thank you for sharing that. That's so interesting because I'm very similar. I have very short, I have a short attention span, absolutely. But I also I'm very impatient. I'm a perfectionist and I'm very impatient. I want to see the results now. I want it to happen now. But there's actually no pleasure in that, really, when you think about it, because it's just instant gratification that you're getting. You're not really enjoying the process. You're not enjoying the journey. You're not enjoying the action of doing the thing. And the reason why we do the things, we do the things sometimes to get results, but also it's nice to do the thing, just to do the thing, just because the action of doing the thing feels good. Like learning the language, practicing how to say things it feels fun and it feels good. It feels nice to play. Painting the painting, it feels nice to play with the colors and the textures and explore our ideas. So when we rush and when we expect things to be done quickly and we put ourselves under immense pressure, we miss out on the play. We miss out on the fun of the journey. We miss out on the fun of doing the thing, which is why we got into doing the thing perhaps in the first place. So willingness, it helps to be willing, right? It helps to be willing. I am I'm willing. I may not be ready, but I am willing. Are you willing? Are you willing to give the thing a try? Baby step, the baby step I try. Aida says, fear of leaving things undone so they don't build up and become unmanageable and overwhelming, fear of losing control and weight. Totally. Yep. Control, absolutely. Totally. So that is a very, very, that's a total natural response, right? It's a very good way that the brain works, right? It's a very organized way of being, isn't it? Like fear of leaving things undone so that they don't build up and become unmanageable and overwhelming. But then we also sometimes don't realize that we've taken on too much, right? And then we're just trying to spin plates so we don't leave things undone. And sometimes we have to set some plates down in order to pick some up and focus on them for a little while. So, or take a step back from things like projects that aren't fulfilling for us or things that we know that we can come back to in the future. I like to practice what actions or what processes or what tasks do I need to do right now that are not time sensitive, that bring me the most relief, right? What task, what project, whatever it is, do I need to do that's not time sensitive? What can I do that's going to bring me the most relief, right? And if I have time sensitive things that I need to do, then I'm going to do them first. But then after that, like what important tasks can I do that are going to bring me the most relief, right? And that's kind of how I work out about doing things. Yeah. And we can reframe. So we have to learn how to reframe what we've got going on, especially reframing frustration, right? Frustration, if we get frustrated because we've got a lot going on, or we're frustrated because we've been criticized, or we're feeling frustrated because we might have made a mistake, or we've failed, whatever it is, we can reframe that, because frustration means that we're growing, right? Frustration means it's just like the emotion of anger. These are really powerful emotions. Our emotions are not bad or wrong. They are signposts for us on our journey. They tell us what we've got going on. They're really good. There's a guidance system, right? It's a really good guidance system. So frustration signals growth, not failure. If you're frustrated by something, that means that you're ready for growth, right? It's signaling your growth. Like the stuck feeling, right? You might be feeling stuck, or you might be feeling frustrated that you should be further along than you are, or whatever it is that your potential is calling you forward. But you might be feeling stuck. We can reframe that feeling, right? We can reframe that feeling of frustration, that feeling of stuckness, whatever it is we've got going on. Feelings of shame, right? I'm fundamentally bad or flawed. I can't do the thing, or I've made a mistake, I've failed, I'm a failure, and I feel shame about that failure, right? That's quite common. It's like we make a mistake and we fail, or we get criticized and we immediately go into feelings of shame. I am fundamentally bad at my core. I am flawed. There's something wrong with me, right? I'll never be able to do this thing because I'm bad. I'm not good enough. I'm bad. I'm fundamentally flawed. Well, we can ask ourselves, why? Right? Why? Always, I love just always my whole life. I've been asking questions ever since I was a toddler, driving my parents crazy. Why? Right? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel shame? Is it really because I made a mistake, or is it because I've got something else going on? Right? Have I felt this feeling for a long time in my whole life? How can I reframe this into something better? Right? I am fundamentally good at my core. I am willing, even if I feel like I'm not good enough, I'm willing to try to be better. Even if I feel like I am a failure or I've failed, I'm willing to try again. I'm willing to be better. What small steps can I take in order to feel better, to move better, to move in the direction that I want to be going in? And this is why I love journaling. It's such an important step, I feel, in many people's journeys. It certainly has been in mine. you were to experience failure or frustration or criticism or lack of self-belief, if you were to experience self-doubt, and ask yourself why, get into your journal and start writing, handwriting, which is really freaking good for you. It's really good because it lights up the frontal lobe of the brain. It helps with memory and it helps with trauma therapy, right? It helps you to process stuck emotions and memories and feelings and sadness and grief and loss and anger and all these emotions. Why? Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel this way? I feel this way because I was treated badly by this person when I was 6 and they told me that my painting sucked, or they told me that I was really bad at this language, or they laughed at me, or they made me feel bad. And then we can reframe from that point onwards, right? Who is this person, right? Who gave them the power? Are they the overlord of the universe that gets to decide who the best is at language? Is that are they the god of language? Are they the god of art? No, I don't. They're a human being, right? They're not gods, they're human beings. So what gives them the right? And were they just projecting onto you? Most likely, yes. What would you say to that person that say, for example, it's your 6-year-old self or something? What would you say to that 6-year-old self now if someone had told them that their painting sucks or they were bad at language or whatever it is? You would probably say to that 6-year-old child, that person doesn't know what they're talking about. They're an idiot, and your painting is awesome. And I think that you're awesome, and I think that you're really good at languages. And you know what? If you want to get better, then let's practice. So it's creating that growth, right? It's creating that feeling of growth. It's creating that reframe and that's how we become self-sufficient and better at improving our belief, our self-belief at ourselves, for ourselves. Journaling is so powerful, so good. I love it. So if you were to reframe your fear right now, what would you say to yourself? How would you reframe what you've got going on right now? So say, for example, you've got the fear of burning out. What would you say to yourself to help you take the action that you need to take? What words of support can you give yourself right now? Put it in the chat. What words of support could you give yourself right now to help you do the thing that you need to do? Take the action that you need to take. What would you tell yourself? What's something positive that you can tell yourself about the thing that you need to do, or about the fear that you have? Something positive about it. I would love to know if you could share that in the chat and in the comments as well if you're watching this after it's been live. And finally, final topic, final way that you can believe in yourself even after failure and criticism is to choose faith as a decision. Faith in yourself is a choice, right? It's a choice. We can choose to have faith in ourselves. How do we do that? By deciding, right? By getting comfortable with the discomfort, right? At the start, when you start playing with or trying to believe in yourself, it can feel gross, it can feel icky, it can feel fake, it can feel false, it can feel weird because you've never done it before, right? Just like learning how to do anything else feels. Especially if we've been told otherwise, especially if we've been told or made to feel that we're not good enough, that we're flawed, that we're not worthy, blah, 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 all these things. It's going to be really tricky for us to feel comfortable with believing in ourselves, right? Having faith in ourselves. But just like we said before, we can be willing. We can be willing to try. We can be willing to try to have faith in ourselves. We can be willing to have faith in ourselves. We can decide right now that faith in ourselves is a choice, one that we're going to make. It's not anyone else's job to have faith in you, right? Yeah, okay, we'll have friends and family members and loved ones that do have faith in us, but really, having faith is our job. Having faith in ourselves is our job. So we have to choose it. We have to choose to have faith in ourselves and our abilities and the thing that we want to do, right? We have to choose it. I'm willing to choose. I want to choose. I'm choosing having faith in myself and my ability, or having faith in myself to be able to do the thing, even if I'm criticized, even if I fail. And I fail and I get criticized and I come back and I re-choose it. I come back and I re-choose to have faith in myself, right? I maybe have lost faith in myself because someone criticized me. I'm going to give it a couple of days or however long it takes, but I'm going to remember, I'm going to choose, I'm going to come back and I'm going to re-choose having faith in myself. We don't just choose faith and that's it. We don't choose faith in ourselves and that's it forever, right? We have to come back every single time something happens. Every day we have to come back to choosing the faith in ourselves again. It's like planting a seed, right? Planting a seed, you got to water it daily. You got to water the seed every day before growth starts to show, right? Before the little seedling pops out of the ground, we have faith that there's something in the ground and it's going to grow, right? It's going to show up out of the ground. It's going to pop up. We're watering the seeds. And one day the seed pops up and it grows into a beautiful plant or tree or whatever, right? That's what we're doing by choosing faith every time we're watering the seed. We're watering the seed. And as we water it, it grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. That's how we grow our self-belief, even if we get criticized, even if we fail. After we get criticized, after we fail, we come back to choosing ourselves, right? Choosing faith in ourselves. If we dig up the seed, right, what do you think happens if we dig up the seed just to check if it's growing, right? Do you think that helps the seed? Do you think that helps the seed to grow? No, I don't think it does. I think it actually potentially damages the seed, right? So we plant the seed, we choose to have faith that the seed is going to grow. We water it, we water the plant by choosing to have faith about ourselves and our abilities, by choosing to believe in ourselves. And that's it. We keep coming back, watering the plant. We keep coming back and having that choice, making that choice again. We commit, right? We commit to choose to have faith in ourselves. Want you in the chat and out loud to write, I choose faith in myself. Say it out loud. I choose faith in myself. And I want you to write it in the chat right now. I choose faith in myself. I choose faith in myself. Because many of us have chosen not to have faith in ourselves, right? Many of us have chosen the opposite thing. So now we're going to choose this new thing. We're going to choose, yes, we can accept that we have not had faith in ourselves. We can accept that we have chosen not to have faith in ourselves, but now we're going to choose this new thing. We're going to choose this different thing. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel strange. It's going to feel alien. It's going to feel like it's not possible for a while. But that's only because we've had so much practice choosing the other thing, right? But now it's time for us to choose the faith in ourselves. Now it's time for us to choose the new thing. And with practice, that old thing will disappear. It will go away. It might take a while, but it will eventually go away. And we'll have this new thing. It won't be new. We'll be used to it. But it will be there and it will help us fundamentally. Aida says, I'd like to have faith and ability to turn self-sabotage to sticking power and to get through the baby steps and my goals eventually. Yes, absolutely. I love that. Yes, you can choose to have the faith and ability to turn self-sabotage into sticking power to get through the baby steps and your goals eventually. Yes, absolutely. Linda says, I will figure out what's my pace and take pauses to see if it's time to pause. To start trusting myself that I can count on myself, knowing what I need and have the energy for. Yes. And patience with yourselves. Absolutely. I choose faith in myself. Say it out loud. I choose faith in myself. I choose faith in myself. I choose to have faith in myself. I choose, because it's a choice, right? You can choose to not have faith in yourself, and sometimes you will. Sometimes you'll choose not to have faith in yourself. But right now, we're choosing to have faith in ourselves. Whoops. Don't know what that was. Headphones. Okay, so main points. what we've just talked about was, right, understanding your brain's protective wiring. Understand your brain's protective wiring, right? Your fear of failure, your fear of criticism, the lack of belief in yourself, it's your brain's defense mechanism, right? And it's completely normal to have these things. It's really good if we can take action before we feel ready, right? We have to take action before we feel ready. We can choose willingness over ready. Even if we're not ready, we can be willing to be ready, right? We can be willing to be ready to take action, and then we take that action. We can reframe frustration as growth, right? We can reframe using journaling. We can reframe, and we can also do it in our own heads, right? When we get used to it and practice, we can reframe our frustrations as growth. And you can decide to have faith in yourself. Choose it over and over and over again. Choose to have faith in yourself. That is how to believe yourself, even after failure and criticism. There's loads more I could say about it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to share in the chat once more this cheat sheet with you, which will give you a link to a Google form. Fill in the form. You're on my mailing list anyway, most likely. And yeah, so the form is to get on the mailing list, and then once you've filled the form in, you will get the cheat sheet, which is downloadable and printable. And it's basically all the things that we talked about on this call to have around maybe when you're journaling, right? Or maybe when you have to do that scary thing, or maybe when you're struggling with belief in yourself and fear of criticism and failure, you can have that cheat sheet with you and look at it and remember, right? And remember to choose yourself over and over again, especially if you've experienced lack of self-belief and failure and criticism. If you want to work with me directly to build your confidence and get clear on your goals and your self-confidence and your self-worth and anything that you've got going on, right? Anything at an emotional level or any experiences and circumstances that you're currently facing that are challenging, you can find a link in the description of this video to work with me. So it's a link for a 30-minute consultation call. All the details are in the description. Click on the link and it'll take you to my calendar page with more details. And I would love if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel, which would be so awesome, and share it. Share this video if you feel like you have anyone in your life that it could benefit. That would be really great if you could do that. How are you feeling? How are you getting on? Just before we go, I'd love to know how you're doing. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you spending your precious, valuable time and energy with me, right? Our time and our energy are our most valuable assets that we will ever have in our lives. I'm so grateful that you shared yours with me today. And yet remember, you're allowed to be a work in progress. You're allowed to be your work in progress and believe in your future at the same time, right? You can do both things at once. You can be a work in progress, like making mistakes and receiving criticism and struggling, right? But you can also have faith. You can also have faith in yourself and practice taking baby steps, right? You can always struggle, have a little bit of struggle going on, right? A little bit of challenging stuff going on, but also believe in your future and know that it's going to work out for you. You're so welcome, and yay! Oh, thank you so much for saying that. You're so welcome for joining me. Thank you so much, and you're so welcome for the information and enjoy the cheat sheet. And I will see you same time next week. Lots of love. Bye.